All right, guys. Who's here? John's here. Cool, John. John and I have been talking because he's getting a Shop Saber machine, and it'll be interesting to check that out, spend a little bit more time with him once he gets his CNC table in. So, man, this month, or March, I should say, was nuts. Getting back from Workbench Con and then some traveling and then a wedding in the family. That was all right at the beginning of the month, end of February, beginning of March. Somewhere in there, I caught a cold that just floored me. I was like 5-6 days where I was just getting nothing done. And I had project after project after project that needed doing, which was just terrible. So, what are you going to do? The reason, let's see. Yeah, make sure we're all good. If you guys give me a mic check, I'd appreciate that. So, what do we got? Today, let me jump over to the other camera, or the other screen. Today, I just finished up this sign. It's basically just some flat panels on a frame. It's kind of one of the most simple ways you can put together a sign. It's not my favorite type to do, but the building this is going on, right next to it, there's another building or another sign that's basically the exact same design. So, you know, it would look out of place if it was something totally different. So the client wanted to match what's right next to it. This is, I just brought this home so that first thing in the morning I can run it to the powder coater on my way into the shop, and then in a couple days install it. And I am doing a video on this one. It'll probably be a relatively short video because there's not too much that goes into them. They're basically a one-day project, a little bit more than that, you know, if you haven't done them a bunch of times. And then, you know, installs generally like 2 hours. If, you know, if there's no lighting, this one doesn't have lighting. So, yeah, it's been super busy. I'm going to jump back over this other screen again. The project that I did with Black Stallion, this one's wrapped up. The video's edited. It's actually uploaded to YouTube. I'm just waiting on Black Stallion to, you know, finalize everything, and then that one will get posted. And I think that one's going to be pretty cool. It was 3D printing, plasma cutting. Man, what else? I mean, obviously welding. Went into a bunch of different ways to attach pieces because, as you can see, it's an expanded steel frame or an expanded steel background on a angle iron frame. And, you know, attaching to that expanded steel isn't exactly as straightforward as just welding down to a flat piece. I did use flattened expanded steel or expanded metal, which is basically just expanded metal that's then been put through rollers. You know, so you're really only dealing with two flat surfaces with little diamonds cut out of them instead of this real wavy surface. But yeah, the BSX letters up at the top were 3D printed, and then they have LEDs in them. The piece that makes up the eye was 3D printed, and that one was Hey guys, sorry, my chat just updated all of a sudden. Man. Okay. Yeah, so the piece that makes up the eye was also 3D printed. The whole thing, I designed this whole sign in Fusion 360, which makes life real easy because you can export that out to, I mean, you could do the G code right in Fusion, but I don't. But you can export out your flat pieces, which are, what do they come out as? DXFs, I believe. You can output an STL file for 3D printing. You know, you can do photo rendering, which, speaking of, let me see if this guy works right now. I don't know if it will or not, but there you go. I got this fancy new Stream Deck thing. My wife got me this. It was my birthday last month, and it's been fun because you can configure it for a whole bunch of stuff. I've configured it for like when I play games and whatnot, but I also have a setup here for streaming so that hopefully I can make this all work a little bit better. And tomorrow, which is Friday, at 7 o'clock, so basically 24 hours from now, I am going to be doing a live stream on the entire process from taking a vector file in Fusion 360. That's artwork that a customer provides you, or you draw up somewhere else, or just a design you make in Fusion, and then running all the way through the photorealistic render of a finished project so that you guys can follow along with this, because it is an amazing bonus to when you try and, you know, when you're selling to a customer, being able to show them something that is basically as close as you're going to get to real life, but, you know, you didn't have to build it yet, makes that sale. I started doing photorealistic renders, only when I had a customer who's kind of on the fence, and now I pretty much do them for everybody, because it's, you know what you're getting, you know, you've approved it, you're not just approving flat artwork, and, you know, you're good to go. And it does really help drive a sale when somebody can visualize something that well. So we're going to do that class tomorrow at 7 o'clock, and then I'm going to repeat it again this coming Sunday at 5 p.m. I did a poll, and that was the two most common times. I was trying to do this earlier in the month, but like I said, I was sick. If you guys watched last month's live stream, I was just getting the cold when that happened. I thought, this is about as bad as it's going to get, and no, I think I missed like 6 days of work. Got some editing done, but it was bad. I don't know. I'm not trying to be a little baby about it, but I had no energy. My muscles hurt. I just did not have standing on my feet for 8 hours at the shop in me. So, got it figured out. All right, I'm going to turn over the chat. Lomsom's Garage, or Lomsom's. Hello, Fab. Thanks, man. If you guys got any questions, let me know. If you have anything, if you've been following along with this Fusion class that I'm going to be doing, if you have anything that you know right now that you'll want to see, let me know. I'm going to do a practice run, basically just talking to myself and, get that down. I'm going to try and keep it down to about a half hour. Realistically, I can put one of these renders together myself in like 15, 20 minutes most of the time. So with me explaining it, it's probably going to be 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, and then some Q&A. I may do it as a Google Hangout. Haven't decided, and I don't know how much I want to do that, but we'll think about it. Actually, yeah, hell, it's going to be a Google Hangout. So I will have the live stream go up, and there'll be a link in the description, and I'll post it in the chat, and you guys can jump in the Hangout. I think they're limited to 10 people, so be early. But yeah, that's, there's not a whole bunch for me to tell you about for March because of me being sick. But I've wrapped up a couple projects. Let me jump back over here. Got this BSX sign. I installed this sign. It's another one. The next time I get one of I didn't have a chance to really film this. I did film it, but it was just kind of hover camera sitting there in the corner. The next time I do one of these, I'm going to do like a real in-depth video on them, because I think the the finished product is awesome, and they're really not that much more complicated than the sign I did today, which is really just flat panels bolted to a frame. These ones are flat panels that slide into a frame. It takes a little bit longer to get everything finessed just right, but it's not bad. And if you look at that and then compare it to this guy, here you see fasteners, you see the edges of the panels, you see the frame. I'm not a big fan of that look, but if customers want it, customers get what they ask for. But again, I just think these look super slick. All the fasteners that hold everything together are from the top, and you use like panhead self-tapping screws. So from ground level, even from far away, you can't see those fasteners. So it really just looks like, it looks like it was assembled from behind or something like that, but it's not. Tommy and I installed this one in like 45 minutes, something like that. It doesn't take very long, and that's from pulling up to leaving. And there's a second sign that pretty much looks exactly the same, except it's a lawn sign mounted between two posts, and that one's been installed. The concrete for the posts is setting, and probably, maybe Saturday, I'm going to go over and brick up the posts, and no, I'll do it like Monday, but I'm going to go and brick up the posts and put stone on them, because that's the finished product the client wants, and then that'll be covered in, I'll do something. It'll be on Instagram. If you guys aren't following on Instagram, you should be, if I can say so myself. That's everything that's happening kind of day to day. A lot of projects that don't make it to YouTube, I put on Instagram. What else have we got going on? I did you guys will love this one too. This is a planter bed, and it's like 2 feet tall. It fits in this little nook in an outdoor kitchen that has a whole bunch of other like patinaed steel industrial type of decoration. And there's not a 90-degree angle in this thing. It does look like a rectangle with a pointy end, but it's not. And it's 11, some 12 feet long, or somewhere around there. This was I am absolutely blown away that this thing fit on the first try. We went out there, made a cardboard stencil, but it fit, and I'm happy with that. So yeah, that's just what was it? 12 gauge hot rolled steel. Put a acid patina on it, and then clear coated the whole thing with an HVLP gun and some polyurethane, and that turned out pretty good in my book. So yeah, guys, what's coming up? So we're going into April. I am going to Spring Make in Cleveland. That will be quite fun. Actually, I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be pretty good. Most of these like maker meetups, if you guys do come to one, are, there are some classes, there's some stuff to learn, especially if you're starting out. Then it really is an educational experience. But for the most part, they're kind of an excuse for everybody to get together and socialize. So that's the good side. I wish they were a little, Workbench Cons in February, Spring Makes in April. I am not going to go to Maker Central in England. I really just can't justify taking that much time off and spending that much on travel. But, maybe next year. So I'm going to Spring Make in Cleveland. But unfortunately, Spring Make and the International Sign Association's annual conference are the same days. And I have really wanted to go to this sign conference and just kind of check out some of the new stuff that's, new products, whatever, try and learn something. That one's in Vegas. So I am going to fly out from Oklahoma City to Vegas at like 4 o'clock in the morning, land in Vegas, be in Vegas for like 13 hours, get on the red eye from Vegas to Cleveland. I did find a direct flight. Get into Cleveland at, I think it's like 5:15 in the morning, Cleveland time, on the Thursday that Spring Make starts. Be at Spring Make for 2 days and then fly back to Oklahoma City. It's just, I didn't think it was going to be this complicated, and I actually really wanted to drive because I had other things I wanted to do up there, but it's just not going to happen. So if you guys have not seen these, Chad over at Man Crafting sells these powder coated mugs, and he'll laser etch your logo into them. So these are really good to have. You guys have any questions? I'm a little frazzled. I just basically had to run home from the shop in order to be able to do this stream because it was just a long day, and I have actually let me pull up. I'm gonna pull up this render of this next project that I'm starting tomorrow, and this one is super cool, and this will be a So this is it's going to be my channel letter type of signs, except a little bit different because, we're not really doing letters, individual small letters. Everything's rather bold, or these arches. And then the bottom supply co part is going to be boxed in and lit from behind with a diffuser in it. So I'm pretty excited to see how this one comes out. I think it's going to be really nice. And I'm actually doing 3 signs for this company. They're an exterior sign, an interior sign, and then a flat sign on a wall. And if I can swing it with how they're, with the timing, I'm gonna film all 3 of them, because the exterior sign and the interior sign are the exact same thing. They're just different scales. But the flat one is a style that's becoming really popular, where you basically put something on a wall and then you drywall texture over it, but very lightly. And so it kind of looks like a watermark. And I've never done one before, but they approached me about it. I guess they approached a couple other companies, and nobody would give it a shot. I looked at that and said, yeah, I can do that. Came home, did a little test just to make sure that I wasn't crazy. Test worked fine. So, yeah, just going to go for it. You guys will get to see that, you'll get to come along and just learn with me on the adventure, because never done this one before. But that's pretty much how I do all of my, every time I try something new, I'm pretty blunt with the customer. Like, hey, I haven't done this before, but I'm X% confident that I can pull it off. Obviously, if I don't, I'm not going to charge you. Thanks, Jamie. So obviously, if I can't pull it off, I'm not going to charge you. But, hey, this is the time frame. Let me take a shot at it. And I generally give them a break on the first one, just because, they're taking a little leap on me, and they should get some reward for that risk. So, yeah, this is going to be crazy, because this one's a rush. The customer got a bunch of bids from a bunch of different companies, and then came to me, and if everything goes right, this is going to be 7-8 days from start of fabrication tomorrow to installation on like the 13th, something like that. So yeah, it's a rush job, but should be able to pull it off. So, yeah. Like I said, guys, tomorrow we're going to have the... Wrong button. There we go. Tomorrow we're going to have the live stream of the Fusion 360 photo rendering class. This over here is a photo render. I'm going to walk you through exactly the process to make something like that. It shows the light. This is kind of like a daylight scene, but I have, let me find some that are, man, where'd it go? Here you go. This is a really good one that I'm going to be really excited about. Okay, so with this sign, what we ended up doing was, the final design got kind of changed by the landlord. He didn't want a whole bunch of individual studs mounted into his wall. He wanted the sign put on runners, so we didn't drill a bunch of holes in the wall. And I understand that. Personally, I like this clean look more, but you work with what you can. So this was the photo render that I sent to the customer to show them what we're doing. or what I was proposing, and I told them, this is a little lightened up so that you can, because you can't put a real dark photo render in your sign permit application. They just will reject it because they can't see what's going on. So I lightened it up a little bit, but still showed the light. And then I actually just ran over and got a picture of this at night the other day. So now we've got, oh, come on. So now we've got the photo render, or the actual finished product versus the photo render. And, you can see you're looking at basically the exact same sign. And this is, once you can take a couple examples of this where you have, like, here's the render, here's the real life one, and then you send your next customer a render, and then you can link them generally to some gallery where it's like render real product, render real product, render real product, and they can realize that, oh yeah, your renders, you're not blowing smoke up my ass with these renders. These are actually descriptive of the finished product that you put out. And big way to drive a sale there. I think it's going to be a real value add if you guys take the time to learn how to do this for yourself, and it's a good thing. So if there's not really any questions in the chat or anything, I'm going to wind this one down early just because I'm frazzled and I have a very long day coming up in front of me tomorrow. Yeah. So hang out for a minute. I'm going to refresh my drink and throw it back. No, I'm not. I'll just finish this one. What else been going on? Anything fun around here? Did a bunch of 3D printing. That was for all of the sign pieces for that BSX sign. Nope, not the one I want. Come on. Yeah. So this BSX sign, the X up in that top section, it was basically like 3/8 of an inch smaller than my build plate on there. So it just barely fit. And then the S and the B actually fit on there together. So it was like 12 hours of printing so far with that. John, I'm not at all with Enroute. I don't use it. And then the same thing, the eye piece is like mounted to the back of the plasma cut metal piece, and that one just barely fit on the build platform too. I actually had to modify it a little bit to make it fit. And then the Buy Black Stallion little black letters at the bottom, those are easy to print. You just have to have your printer dialed in so you get a really nice finish. But yeah, that was a really fun build. It was a lot of trial and error and learning because there were things that I wasn't originally planning on 3D printing any of those parts except for the Buy Black Stallion at the bottom. But looking at those real small details, trying to do the hand channeling would have just been a nightmare. Yeah, AGE Metalworks, I can do a in-depth on 3D printing. I'm trying to figure out like a really good example to do a whole video on. Kind of like I Like to Make Stuff does his bits video, and he did one on 3D printing, but like just take that one concept where, because a lot of my videos are like the whole sign start to finish. I don't like to do multi-part videos because I don't like watching multi-part videos. So I'm going to try, maybe I'll just reprint all the stuff from the Black Stallion sign, because there were a couple different kinds of printing in there, and that's a good way to do it. I was planning on having a lot of free time in April because I didn't have, I literally, for the first time in over a year, cleared my backlog. I had nothing on the books March 29th. And then, the morning of March 29th, I cleared my backlog. And then that afternoon, deposits on 3 projects came in. And I am not upset about that. But I would have been really happy if like they would have come in on Monday instead. So I could have had a weekend where I was like, okay, cool. I don't have a backlog. I don't feel like I should go work on Saturday. But what are you going to do? But once I have some free time, I'm probably going to be looking into doing some vapor smoothing with 3D printing, which is where, let me grab a 3D printed piece. What have I got? Here you go. This was actually my test piece of the Black Stallion X, and you can see there was a lot of kind of fuzzies here, and then that's fine. You can sand those off, but the real problem with it was it was just a little too thin. It's real flexible, and it actually cracked along the bottom there. So I redid the model, made it a little thicker, and then you can see that it warped off the build plate right there, and this was the front face. So this needed to be perfect. So I didn't notice that. I had to start over basically. But it was a good test piece, and you'll see that, oh yeah, my focus on this camera doesn't auto adjust. But you'll see layer lines. I hope you guys can see that in the light, definitely. And the layer lines are where, the printer's gone around and around and around again. And vapor smoothing is a process of basically putting this in a chamber with hot vapors of a solvent that is relevant to the material you're using. The most common is acetone and ABS plastic. And then the vapors kind of, it's almost like heating up a piece of glass to smooth it out. The vapors come in there and they just smooth everything out a little bit. Because as you can see, there's some lines. There you go. And that's from the tape that I put on the printer bed to hold this down. It just needs some more texture than the glass bed there. And now I've tried a couple other options that eliminate those lines and gotten that figured out. But yeah, it was a process to get there, and it should be once I so you have this problem on YouTube where some dude figures one thing out and he's like, 10 tricks from an expert of whatever, and it's crap and it's garbage and we should lynch those people or something. It drives me up the wall when people they do one thing and they're like, I'm the expert, I'm going to teach everybody how to do this. It's like, no, show people how you did it. But, you may be right, but you're not the only way that's right. And other people's opinions are also valid. So, before I start going, hey, here's how you should do this, I want to perfect the process for me and then show you how I did it. Or at least get it good. I just, this is not a finished quality that's good enough for a customer, in my opinion. I don't want to put my name on this. So, that's why I redid it. And actually, I think I did this one a couple times. I think I kept having trouble with it. Yeah, I threw them away already. But, it's, 3D printing's fun. My wife was a Star Trek character for Halloween, and we just 3D printed out Star Trek Spock ears, because why not? Yeah, it's a fun tool to have. That's the Monoprice Maker Select Plus. They're $300, $350 depending on what sales they're running. It's an all right machine. I'm having problems with the extruder right now jamming, and I'm probably just going to replace the whole extruder head and then keep the one that's on there for spare parts because I'm tired of messing with it. And they're only, you're talking $50. It's not a huge deal. I would like to try out kind of the mid-tier range printers. The $600-$700 printers, because that's kind of what I consider to be a reasonable. If you're using them every day, spend $5,000 on a printer. If you're using it to make money every day, spend the money. A plasma table, spend the money. Just like John over here did. So if you're not using it every day, if this is something that, I use that thing a couple times a month, and half the time it's me messing around or like making Star Trek ears or making wall mount battery holders that you can clip a DeWalt battery into. So yeah, that's if you're doing that, then I would consider like $700 to be a pretty good value proposition to me. You don't have to do too many projects before it's paid for itself, and then you're just making money on it. I forget where I was going with it. Oh, okay. Yeah, there are like the Creality printers. I've got no opinion because I've never used one of them. But they're in I think they're in the $200 range, and apparently they're pretty decent, but they do require you to kind of tinker with them to get them right. You need to calibrate them, from what I understand, and that's not something I want to recommend, because if you don't understand the process, then you're just gonna have $200 sitting there doing nothing. So yeah, I had another one. What was it? I have a large fire pit kit. It is the one I made with Chad from Mancrafting. He's got a video about it, and I don't know what happened with it, but there's a couple weld spots and some paint on the metal. It must have been on the bottom of the sheet when I cut it out, and I have that in my store right now. I think the code. Oh man, now I'm gonna get up on here and sound like an idiot. But I'm gonna sell that one real cheap just to get it out of inventory. So if anybody is interested in one of those fire pit kits and doesn't mind, grinding for 10 minutes, yeah, it's $30 off the Weld It Yourself Hexagon Fire Pit Kit, and the promo code is Whoopsies. 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 One-time use. First one to use it gets it. There you go. And the hell with it. I'm going to change that code to $40 right now. So it's $40 off now. So that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up, unless there's any other questions, but I'm not seeing any. And yeah, I'll see you guys around. If you're going to Spring Make, let me know. If by some chance you're going to the International Sign Expo in Vegas, let me know. I'd love to meet up with people there. And until next time, I will see you next month on the live stream, and I will see you in the comments of videos. I got a couple coming up pretty quick. I know I was fairly quiet the last month and a half or so, but there's 4 in the bag ready to go. So, later.